Hello everyone, this is Rishi here. Hope you are having a fantastic day. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Okay, please let's do the mic test. If you are guys able to hear me properly, please ping in the chat. If you guys able to
I
hear me properly.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. If anyone having issues, please check your mic settings. Yeah, I think my voice is clear to everyone, so we can get started. Okay, first let me tell you guys one thing. So last week we have given one good amount of exercise, which is maybe very pretty hectic for most of you guys. I can understand. This is how even I was struggling in initial days when I was, coming into ABAP RESTful programming model. So the problem is, so initially this is how it will be. There will be some places where you need to spend most of the time, and later you will get very comfortable. Trust me. So if you have to do the same thing again, you will be very much comfortable. But there is one issue. So many of you are facing, like when you're running HTTP service to upload the data. I mean, many of you guys are facing issues. So I have tried running my HTTP service as well. So let's see, this is my HTTP service. And if I run this service, I am able to get the Fiori applications where I can upload the information, everything. But because one thing I would like to tell here is this is an application which is given by one of the colleagues in SAP. So they have come up with this program to upload the data to the tables which is in ABAP RESTful programming. This is not a standard solution. This is just a custom solution for practice purposes. It's not a standard application that customers follow to upload the data. Okay, this is just for our trial account and for the purpose of uploading data instead of creating, using code and everything. So what I would suggest everyone is to avoid this issue, one thing we can do is, so first one thing is I have to dig into this one because I'm not facing this issue so far. That is one thing. Second thing you can try from your end is try to copy the class which is already there, which is GCL ABAP file uploader. Okay. What you can do is, so you go to that class and let me show you. Right click on this one, duplicate the class, give a name, and create the HTTP service providing that class name, whatever the class that you have copied. Okay. So let's hope for the best. If it works, fine, or else I will try myself and guys let you know. Okay. Okay, before we actually start our class for the day 5, I would like to take some questions. Apart from technical issues, if you guys have any, problems, I mean, doubts related to the concept so far we have discussed, I would like to open for some 2 to 3 questions. Then we move ahead for the day 5 content. Okay. Please feel free to ask any questions.
Yeah,
Not,
Rishi, hi.
yeah.
This is Salman.
Hi.
Yeah, one thing I noticed when I was creating in the cloud, that you cannot see the standard like data elements. Is that because of the connection, or it's not available at the cloud level
Yeah,
and the tables
right now they
also?
have restricted for the
Yeah.
trial account.
Okay. Otherwise,
So
we
we
should be
cannot have
able to
access
see
to
you
all
same
the.
thing. Okay.
Yes, yes, true.
Rishi,
This is just a kind of restriction for trail account.
sorry,
Yeah, please.
Rishi Chitendra here. If you don't mind, can you show us one small table with 2 fields and create data in that in the cloud?
Okay, so I can quickly show that. So the stuff which I have shown you, right, how to run the service, that would remain the same. You just need to click on the URL. This will come. Here we need to provide your table name. So it will, in the search, you will get all the results. You can select the document. Here you need to select the file that you want to upload. Okay. Here I have created something. So let me show you how it will be. Okay, so here this is how it will be. Usually, first we need to start with an array. Okay, so whatever we declare will be between the array, which is the square bracket and ends with the square bracket. So the main idea is we have to keep the data in a format called JSON format. So we'll open the brackets for each entry and separate it by comma, and the field name which will be in double quotes, and the value will also be in double quotes. So if you miss any tiny details in this, you may face difficulties. So we have to check the format clearly. So once you have prepared the data like this for all the fields one by one, so here I have 3 entries, one for priority and another for text. So this is how you have to prepare and save this as a JSON format. You have to specify it here and check save as type all files, specify the entry as JSON format and save it. So that JSON file you need to upload here. So I just have to select that file and you will get the entries and click on upload. Right now I don't want to upload because it will override or append. Okay, so you just need to simply select that and click on upload file. It will upload. Okay. Okay guys, any further questions related to the class that we have discussed last week? Okay, I think we are good. Let's get started for the today's session.
Yeah,
Rishi, last question,
just
please.
one more question. Yeah, so that the creating ABAP trial instance, so in the real time, how it is, like how do we connect, that means in the with the Eclipse? And
so in the real time, you usually get the paid account. So suppose if your customer is already using SAP ABAP in a cloud environment, you will directly get the user credentials with the developer account. So you can directly go to SAP Cloud Platform, and whatever we have shown here, everything is common, but you have limited to the trial account here. So there you will have complete access for everything. Everything will be same, the way you access.
Okay, and just one more question is, like in our ABAP in SAP GUI, if we see like this VBAK is a standard table, so if we clicked on the change button, it is not able to change. But here I can see in your server, if I clicked on the change button, so it is I can able to change with the standard tables and also. Why? What is the difference between that?
Which server? Cloud or the training server?
SAP GUI. Yeah, your training server. SAP GUI
this is a training server, right? So this is a training server, so maybe that's the reason there were no restrictions. It's not a production.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to the lecture mode. Let's get started for today. Okay, so in this today's session, we are going to discuss or create a Fiori application which is list report and object based by following some of the steps that I'm going to show here. So what is a list report, object based report in Fiori? As we discussed earlier, so the main intention of ABAP RESTful program is to create Fiori apps, enable ABAP developers to create Fiori applications. So how do I create Fiori applications? First thing, I need to create my models and create CDS views on top of my physical tables, and I need to expose that as an OData service. So the main target is to create the OData service in ABAP RESTful programming model way. Okay, instead of following other programming models. Like we have SEZW way we can create OData service. We have other ABAP programming model for Fiori. There are different approaches. The main intention is to create the OData services. So using this ABAP RESTful programming model, we'll create the OData service, and that OData service will test it out. We'll create in such a way that it will give a list of elements, and user will be able to navigate to the next page, and he will have multiple tabs, and he can see the item data and all. So first, the thing that we need to consider is creating an OData service. That is the ultimate goal in a in which way we'll create the OData service using ABAP RESTful programming model. The first thing is first, as you already know, so data model is the main fundamental thing that we have to create here. So like which will involve CDS creations in physical table creations and everything that we need for our application. And what we do is we will create a business service provisioning. This is where we will expose the underlying entities, CDS views, as an OData service. Once this is ready, there are two things involved here. One is creating a service definition on top of our data models and exposing that service, binding that service to a protocol which is HTTP or on V1 or V2 other versions. I will explain in further how do we create this service definition, how do we bind this service definition to a specific protocol. Once that is ready, anyway it will be ready for consumption. So what are the things we know at the data model level? We create CDS views. On top of that, we'll create database tables. We create database tables. On top of them, we'll create CDS views. So we follow VDM approach, virtual data modeling approach. So where we have basic interface views, composite views, and consumption views. Okay. So here the model which we have discussed in the last class, that is the same model that I'm going to create here, except for the physical tables because you guys already have created and because of the exercise that I have given last week. So here we have to create a service definition and also binding the service to a specific whatever the definition that we have given to a specific protocol as well. Here we will consume finally the Fiori applications. So these are the three fundamental blocks that we have to build as a developer, ABAP developer: data modeling, data business provisioning, service logic, and service consumption. So what is the model that we have discussed last time? That is nothing but this is the one, right? So I'm going to follow the same structure. So basic tables, physical tables, which they are already ready, and now I need to create a basic interface for views on top of them, composite views as well, consumption views. I will explain why I have to create a composite view and why I'm creating a consumption view as well. So everything will come into a picture right now. So whatever we have doubts like why composite view, consumption view, so these are the doubts will get cleared in this class. So okay, this slide we'll discuss later once we have completed the data model. I would like to show you a preview of the application right now, so how it is going to look, so that you will get idea towards where we are moving while creating these models and consumption, composite views and consumption views. Okay, so this is my Fiori app. So let me go back to my service binding which I have created. So how do we run this first? So once I create the service binding, so I will show you in this class. Whatever I created, I'll expose them those entities. I'll select the main one and click on preview. So I have already created a service. I'm directly consume that in Fiori application. This is just to see the preview. So I'm not even actually creating an application by calling this service from Visual Studio or Business Application Studio. So this is just a preview. This is one of the interesting feature SAP has added in Eclipse ADT tools recently. Instead of you going to the SAP Cloud Platform or Business Application Studio to consume that service, here you can directly preview the app before you actually developing the applications. This is a very interesting feature. Previously, if we had to consume this OData service, we used to have cloud user account, trial account. There we have to set up everything, SAP Cloud Connector. There are so many things happening, and this was a very time-consuming process as well to just to preview the application. But with this feature, Fiori app element preview, so you can directly select the entity that you would like to see in the Fiori application. So once I got this application, so here you can observe what kind of UI elements that are coming in this particular application. First one is a search capability. You can search just by providing the text. This is called enabling text search or also a fuzzy search. So you do not specify the complete description, just like when you open an Amazon app or any other the store apps. You just specify the description of the product, right, that you are looking for. It may not be accurate. So this is called fuzzy search. So you don't give an accurate result, but still system try to match us with the existing results close to your search results, whatever you are searching for. That is called fuzzy search. So you enable the fuzzy search and also a text search. So user can check with the whatever the description that the product is looking for. So we have a filter options here like purchase document status. If I search for in process document, I will directly get the help here so that I can choose from the list directly. This is one feature. So we have a filter bar here and a fuzzy search enabled, and filter bar F4 help with F4 help also. So everything what you are going to see in this app we are going to finish today. And once we click on go, so directly you will get all the results. Okay, so for now I have uploaded some data for these two orders. I haven't updated the item details because these two records enough to showcase what we can do with this. Later I can upload the data and you can play around with it. So for now I have uploaded for some data for these specific purchase orders. So once I click on this go, so I will get the list of purchase orders. In this I can see the status, priority, and what is the total amount of the purchase order and who has created when it is created actually. Okay, here you can observe the purchase document and the purchase document number is concatenated in a format that user can able to read the purchase document instead of separate columns. So this will be achieved by different annotations. We'll see everything here. Now once I click on this list line, I should be able to navigate to the detailed view. So here I can see. So there are some things which I would like to highlight, like suppose I would like, so as soon as the user navigated here, I need to highlight something like, okay, this is the status of the order that you are looking right now. This is the total amount. This is the priority of this order. Just to give priority to the important fields when we have navigated here. So these are called data points, and these are called title we have given here, how the title should appear. These are everything what you see here is dependent on the annotation that we use. You can observe the first tab we have purchase information. So this is one section you can consider. Under purchase information we are showing the details, some details, and also there is one more section, admin information. So here we can add as many as you want these sections. So for now I have shown you just a couple of sections under a particular tab. These are called UI facets annotations. We can achieve this kind of appearance using UI facet annotations. So user also can be able to navigate to the purchase items on click of the different tab. So here we will see whatever the items which are under that particular specific purchase order. Okay, so this is what we are going to develop today's session. And you may see this is not complete full-fledged app. Okay, this is just a list report app, and I haven't given any what do you call cosmetic changes here. Like suppose if I would like to see the high priority ones, I would like to make this as a red color. I would like to show which are already completed as green color. So these are cosmetic changes I haven't done yet. Tomorrow you will see. And once we've done the cosmetic changes, I mean our app looks even gorgeous. Okay. So for now just create a plain one. Later once we get everything, all the concepts, we'll look into the cosmetic changes as well. Okay, this is the application we are going to develop. So let's get started with the what is the fundamental thing where we need to start. We have to first create with the data model. Okay, let's get started. So I'll go to my Eclipse where I have already connected to my RESTful ABAP trial account. So this is my package. So let me show you the physical tables that I have created. So starting with purchase document, you can see here. So many of you already created. I'm just showing you what are the tables that I have created. Here we have just giving some fields. You can observe here I am specifying a end user label. So I'm giving a description for this one. Why I didn't give for the others? Okay, you may ask this question. You can see here the priority, we have specified the data element here. For every element in this, I have created a data element. So whenever someone is accessing this particular table via serious view, the description will automatically be picked from the data element that we have given. So if I navigate to the data element, just place your cursor on the data element, click on F3, it will take you to the data element place. So this is a description which will be automatically picked whenever somebody using my CDS view on top of this specific table. So in this case, ABAP CAD, there are no descriptions, mapped to this particular data element, right? Because it is not, this type. So because it is not a data element. To explicitly specify the description, so we have to use end user text label when we do not have a data element. If there is a data element, the description will be picked automatically. And if you try to give this annotation to the other element which is already having data element, so it will always give priority to the data element description. And just to show that difference, I have created this company code with an a manual normal ABAP data type, which is CAD. So when I go to PO item, so here you can see I have created another table for purchase order items. I have declared my purchase document name, and also I have created a foreign key relationship with my header here. So whatever the purchase document which is there, for that only I have to create my items. So this is how we can create the foreign key in editor mode. So usually we in SC11 we have different tools, right, where we'll select the column and click on foreign key icon and all. So here we can manually specify like this, so directly it will establish the foreign key relationship between the two tables. So you may be wondering what exactly this. So we have the same concept in foreign key as well when we are creating in ABAP. There we have C1 is to Cn, N is to Cn. There are multiple combinations are there. So just like we have cardinality in our CDS view where we specify the minimum and maximum value that can be found for this specific. Okay, it can have 1 to star, that means minimum number will be at least 1, and maximum number also will be at least 1. Okay, here it's specifying minimum can be 1 or more and maximum will be only 1. Okay, that is what it means. Okay, similarly I have created priority tables where we have priority and the text, status table we have status and text, and also vendor information we have status and text. Here you can also establish a foreign key relationship to the vendor which is existing in item table as well. That is up to your choice. Now my physical tables are ready, so let me start with creation of my database mode, CDS view creations on top of my physical table. So first I need to go with the basic views. So as I mentioned earlier, we always have to start with the basic views so that it can be reused with other developers. So basic views are a raw projection from the physical tables with extra information like associations and also aliases for the fields which are existed in the table. So you do not do any calculations or anything. That is the rule that you need to follow. It is not mandatory, but that is a rule you can follow as per the SAP S/4HANA standard guidelines given by SAP. Okay, now let me create the CDS view. So right click on this new data definition. I can specify I have to start with ZI because this is a basic interface view. I'll just give RSH. I'll create purchase document. Purchase document details. I will lock it on my TR. So what we do is we directly fetch the information from our physical table. So here you can specify the dictionary view that is going to create at the backend when you activate this one, and here you need to specify our physical table. What is the name of that is the Rishi PO doc. So I'll just simply control space, you will get the help. You can click on insert all elements, everything will be inserted here. So this is a basic view. Here we need to specify, okay, this is a basic view, so that we need to indicate that with an annotation which is VDM. Here there is a small uh, thing here, so I will tell you. When you specify VDM view type, you're telling this is a basic view. But in cloud environment, this hasn't available yet. So what it is saying is, when I click on that, VDM type is not permitted yet. Okay, so it is not released yet. Maybe in future they're going to release, but that is not a problem, because annotation will not cause any trouble related to the data information. I'm not sure why they have restricted this. Maybe there will be some technical issues. I mean, some fundamental things which are not aware, but which will not cause any trouble related to data fetching on everything. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just simply comment this one, so that you will have in on-premise we can create this annotation. There is no restriction. Okay, so if you create the same thing, you better follow this approach. But for your reference, I will keep this as I will keep this annotation here. So you just need to comment that. To comment, the shortcut is Control Shift and less than symbol, so it will automatically comment. To uncomment, Control Shift greater than symbol. Okay, so this is the table that I have created on top of my physical table. So what I have told, so we have a basic view with extra information which will have meaningful information. So I'll provide the aliases for all the fields. As status and as priority. This is a company code. This is created by, and also created date, time, and changed date, time. Okay, so suppose if you do not create this basic interview, so I'm directly going to the table. Okay, you can observe the difference, like how which one is giving the more information. Is it the basic view or a direct table? So basic view will give you the more information. Some people who might not understand like what is CC code. So if we look at the basic view, he will get a clear idea. Okay, this is a company code. So this is the reason we need to create a basic view on top of a physical table. So everything whatever you do from now on will be referring to the basic views only instead of directly physical table. You can observe in SAP also, whatever the view that you take, standard view, there will be, everything will be dependent on the basic view only. So they will have a basic view on top of all the physical tables, and everyone whatever the object we are going to create will be on top of the interface view only. Okay, so one thing I have created. So what else I can provide? I can also provide the association. I mean, whatever the fields that are in my projection list, how they are associated to the different tables also, I can give more information here. So I'll say 0 start to, I will establish a relation to my item details as well, right? So first I need to have my basic view ready, right, in order to create my association to the purchase document item. So let me create the purchase document item interface view as well on top of my physical table. I'll say ZIRSH purchase items. Lock in the TR and finish. You provide the dictionary view name and also our physical table which is there, which is Rishi in the school PO item. I'll insert everything here. Also I'll provide the information and purchase item and vendor, what is the price and the currency and quantity. So I have created extra fields like change, date, and time, so which will be very useful when you're performing transaction applications. So just for now, let's not do. Try to understand why these fields required and all. So we'll get explained that. Change date, time. Control F3. So I have created my basic views on top of my physical table, which is header and item. So I'll go to the one which I have created, which is purchase stock. Here I need to create an association to my item table. So see, we have discussed all this, right? I do not have to explain what I'm doing, like how I'm creating the association. So I'm just simply going with the flow. Okay. So that's the reason we have discussed the serious view in the basics, so that whenever I'm doing these applications, whatever the serious views I'm creating, you will have a clear idea. Purchase items as, so we have to provide the alias name and also on which key you are going to match the records. Items dot and what is the common field, which is also purchase document. So I have established the relation. Here you can see the warning, you are not exposing this to the public, so I will make it public. Okay, this is good. So from here you can navigate to the association details when we are creating the app. So how about coming back to the purchase document header from items? There is also should be there, that kind of association. So let me go to the purchase document item. Here I need to specify the association to the header details as well. We are just establishing, giving more details like how these tables are related to each other. So one item will always have one purchase document. I will say minimum one or maximum one to my table, which is purchase document as header on projection and the document in the common field. And I need to make this public, so I'll just simply say header. So how about creating more association? You can create more, association to different elements here also. So we have a PO status and priority as well, right? So we can also establish a relation between those two. So let me create the PO status basic view as well. RSH, which is purchase status basic view. Next, finish. If you're not able to grasp what I'm explaining, you may have to go through the previous recording. By this time, we should be very comfortable with associations as well. And I'm providing the PO status, the dictionary view name, and my table, which is Irishi PO status. Insert all the elements, activate. Now I go back to my purchase document where I would like to establish the relation to status as well. For priority also I would like to associate, so I'll create the priority basic view as well. Purchase priority. If you are getting confused, just look at the data model, whatever I have shared. So same thing I'm doing here, there is nothing complex. Document priority basic view, obviously. Next, finish. PO priority, and this will be the name. I will select all the elements from my table, control save, control F3, have activated. So now I can freely associate to my interface views, which are status interface views and priority interface view. They can have maximum 0 or up to 1. I'll say now I'll provide that status interface view, which is status on projection. This is my common field, which is status, and also tell what is the common field. And also I can create between priority as well. To ZI or SH, purchase priority as priority on the projection, which is priority. The common field is priority. So here you can see these are all the things that we have given here, and I need to expose them as well. Priority and also status. So what I'm exposing so that I can consume outside this wherever I use this CDS view. Somebody asking, can we create associations in basic view? So we can create, if I look at any standard one, you can see here, this is a standard one, which is a basic one. They're creating directly on the physical table. Okay, they're creating an association to the text view. So it is allowed. Okay, so I have established the relationship between my purchase doc item, status, as well as other fields. Let me see if I have missed any other relationship. We have purchase document item, status, priority. Yeah, we are good. Now let me go back to the items as well. Here I have already established a relationship between my item and the header. Now what else I can do here? We have a currency field here and also quantity field, unit also as well, unit and the currency. We can also associate to the currency fields, right, which is already there. So what I will do, instead of creating the existing, new custom interface view, I'll use the existing one. Currency. This is a standard one I can use. Say currency on projection. I need to specify the view, association name and the code, and I'll expose this one as currency. Okay, what else I can do? I can also associate my unit of measure to another interface view. So why I'm doing this is just to showcase how many association we can also, how many association relationship we can establish. I'll say unit of measure. This is another standard one I'm using. So unit of measure on, this is my unit. Unit of measure. I'll also export this to outside. What else I can create? We have a vendor, so I may have to create an association to the vendor as well, in case if I would like to. So we are just generalizing the concept, like, so whatever we could do, whatever the relationship we can establish, we will establish in the basic view level itself, so that the other guys do not have to worry about creating new association, whatever. So whatever the fields that we have in this list, try to create as much information as you could so that it could be reusable 100%. So we have a vendor, right? So vendor I haven't created. There is already one which I will use, which I have created. So I'll say GI Rishi. So you can also create a basic view on top of it, or simply you can use. Vendor ID. And I'll expose this as a, I will make this public, this association. Yes, vendor can be at also header level as well. Yeah, we can design as we want, but this is just an example. Please do not worry. Okay, so we have created the associations on top of which the basic series views which are required for our model. So what are the things that we have created so far? Let me go back to the model. So we have created item, a document, status as well, priority as well, vendor also. These are the interface views which we have already created, right? So GI, vendor and everything. So next up is coming to the composite view. So why would I have to create a composite view? And also how do we create, I will also expose this series view as a, I'll create a consumption view on top of my composite view as well. And then I'll try to consume, I'll create services on top of them and consume and everything. If you observe here, basic view what I have created. Now the next one is the total price, right? So if I go back to my application, here you can see, you can clearly see that there is a field which is, we are showing at the initial level the total amount of the purchase order, right? So this is based on the item price and the quantity, right? This will be calculated. This is the value is actually dependent on the purchase items which is there. Here you can see how do I know that this is the total purchase items, purchase order value. I have to multiply the quantity with the total price, right? So and I need to do the aggregation for all this. That is how I know that okay, this is the total price. When I say aggregation, so first thing is we are showing at the header level. So from header we have to join with the item details, right? So what we will do is we'll make use of the association and we'll try to do the sum of this or the purchase document total quantity. So we'll establish that relationship. For that reason, I'll create a purchase document total price, so which will have the details of the purchase total price of the purchase document. So let's see how we can do. So that will be my composite view. So this is the reason for this aggregation. We have to combine these two, like purchase document and the items. So instead of joins, I will use association. Directly I will do the aggregation on top of the value that I have calculated here. So quantity into total price, this will have a value, and on top of the value I will create aggregation on that. So first thing we need to do is we have to do the price, price calculation at the item level. So as I said earlier, here we cannot do calculations. If I had to do another calculation on top of that, I have to create another interface view and provide the calculations. But since we are doing the practicality here, so I will take the liberty to create the calculation field here itself. Hope you are fine with that. So usually we cannot do this way. Just for our comfortability, for the sake of simplicity, I will directly do it in the interface, or else we have to create another basic view on top of it, and you have to do the calculated fields. So here I will see, you can see how you create the calculation field. The first thing is the price of this item into the quantity. So this will give me the actual value of this item as what I will say total item price. Okay, so let me execute this item document. Here you can see we have the price and the quantity, and when I do the sum, which is 180, so 55 into 5, which is 275. So we are calculating the item price, which is a calculated field which I have created. So basically we cannot create calculation fields. Not we cannot, it's not a good practice. Just for the simplicity, I have directly created at the item level. Okay, now I need to access this column in my header and do the aggregation so that this value appears at the header level itself. So for that I create the composite view. So composite view also will start with I only. So there is no other naming convention. Basic view and composite view will follow the same initial naming convention, which is purchase total price. Okay, so before I create this one, I would like to take a couple of questions. If you guys are having any problem understanding the things that I'm teaching here, let me open for a couple of questions. So let me go to this slide, whatever we are creating. Yeah, please.
So you are telling that price into quantity, that calculation can be done only in composite view, or it can be done in, it should not be done in basic view, right?
Yes, basic view we have to avoid. We can do it in composite view.
Okay, can you please show me an example related?
Yeah, we are going to do that. We are going to create that. Just now I'm creating that one. I'm creating the composite view. I'll do the aggregation in this case. Okay. On top of that field. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
One more question.
Suresh here.
Yes, Suresh.
Can you show us in the cloud platform how can we view a standard table? Because I tried to explore yesterday, but I couldn't find it.
Okay. See, in order to interact with the cloud, right, that is everything will happen through the Eclipse only. So we have already established a connection to the cloud platform. Whatever the artifacts which are there in the cloud, we'll directly open it here. So whatever tables which I have created, right, you can directly select this project. This is a project related to our cloud. You can click on Open ABAP Development Object.
Yeah,
here you can specify the
type Python something I put yesterday, but I don't know how to check the standard tables.
Yeah, there are very limitations here in the trial account. You cannot find everything related to standard in cloud trial account.
One maybe EBL and some kind of one table at least sales something.
No, they haven't released. They haven't released.
Okay.
You can see they haven't released. So even let me check if there are any other tables. Yeah, there is not related to ours. Yeah, there are some language keys standard tables are there. So there are very limited standard tables.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Rishi.
Yeah, please.
Hello. Rishi, like you have mentioned that in the header table and the item CDS view that association name. So I want to actually, can you explain that part again? The underscore items and underscore, you are exposing this association also. And in the header also and the item also you are doing this.
Yes.
So just
So
while
association basically, yeah, to associate a relation, like suppose this is my item table here, right? So what are the other fields, other tables which are associated to some of the fields in my CDS view? And these association will also be useful when we are creating Fiori app. In the UI annotations, we can use this association to navigate to these information. Okay, suppose if I click here and do the right click, and if I want to navigate to the header from here, so this will go back to the header level. So this kind of navigation which will be available. And you can see the alias name will always start with underscore. So this is kind of a practice that we need to follow. This is not mandatory. When you specify underscore currency, this means you are giving a name to this association, and we are exposing that association to the public. When I consume this CDS view, I can reuse this association by accessing the elements inside the currency interface. So I'll show that one as well.
okay, for navigation purpose we are defining this.
Yeah, navigation purpose, and yeah, for providing F4 helps also we need associations. There are different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the main one, to provide such help. When you're working in a transactional app, if you want to see the F4 help, then we use this standard basic views generally.
Yeah. So that is how we can, I mean, there are different use cases for associations. Correct. Okay, so
I have a question.
yeah, I mean, this will be the last question, sorry. Yeah, please.
Okay, so do I have to if I maintain association, do I have to also maintain foreign key relation in the table?
That's not necessary. I mean, there should be a common field between these two in order to navigation. But it would be good to have, yeah, that will, clearly we'll follow the DB rules, right? Okay, yeah, so let's move to the next, wherever we have stopped. Let me go to lecture. Yeah, we are at purchase total price, right? So let me give the dictionary unit. Please do not mind that I'm going fast here because we have already covered CDS basics completely. Please do practice. It will be, you will get comfortable. Do not worry if you are facing any trouble at this stage. Okay, so now I need to select the information from my basic view, which is my sales document. I underscore RSH purchase document. I'll select everything here. So one more extra field which I need is, here we're exceeding the more characters which are allowed, so I'll keep simple. The dictionary view all should be in a limited characters. So okay, you can, if you look at my app here, so here we are showing status, priority, and total price, purchase items also we are showing at the main view only, which is purchase document. So here only I need the aggregation of the total price which I have already calculated in the items. So what I can do is, since we have already established association in my basic view, right, to the what do you call, our item details. So what I can do is I can directly access that particular column, that field from my table. So let's see how I can do. So if I go back to my underlying interface view, you can see there is association to items, right? So I will use that. I told you, if you create an association and make it public, I can reuse that association into different CDS view. So that is what I'm going to show now. Here I'll say items, okay, item price. So I'm accessing the value here as total price. I haven't done the aggregation. Okay, so once we've done the aggregation only, you will get the cumulative sum of all the items. Right now you may not get all the items. So for this I need to do the aggregation, which is sum. So now makes sense, right, when to use aggregation. So if you look at in our scenario, so here we are performing the aggregations of item price at the item level. So here we are doing the aggregation. So when we provide the aggregation, it is mandatory to give the group by class. That is just like how when we do a sum in our ABAP, right, when we are writing a select query. Here also you have to perform the aggregation. Because we have all these fields, so what I will do, I'll simply copy these fields. All the fields should be a part of the group by, so or else we cannot perform. Okay, when you do a group by, all the except the the price that you are calculating, remaining should be in a group by class. So that's why I specified in the group by. Now if I look at this one and I execute this, so I'll get the aggregation, right, for the entire items which are there. You can see the value here. Okay, so my basic, the composite view which is ready here. So why I call composite view, I'm accessing the other item data, other table interface view information within my total price CDS view. If I look at the create SQL statement, there you can see, right, there is a join happening between these two tables, which is document and the item. Okay, you may not see because we have used the association directly. So internally, as I told in the earlier classes, associations will form the join based on the how we are using the association. We can make it inner also, left outer join also. By default, it will be left outer join. That is what we are saying here. So we have already discussed this. Okay, I'm not going to spend much time here. Please go to the previous videos. Okay. Total price, we are good. So we have come across so far here. Where is that? Okay, so we have come to the composite view till here, and the remaining two is our consumption views. So whatever the logic that you have so far, we have whatever you have created, right? And one more question is, if you define the association in the basic view, we have to see here? Yeah, it depends. Right now, whatever I have defined in this within one, I'm able to access here, right? Suppose if other person is trying to access this one, directly they can have access to this one because I'm already exposing those views. Okay, we can declare. We do not have to specify again association to that one because we have already created. All you have to do is you need to expose those associations so that whoever using this one will get access to those associations. Just a second, please. So let me execute this one and see if I'm able to navigate to the required places. So priority, I can see the value is 1 in my table, so I can see the value. I can navigate to the priority table as well. Okay, so we have come till here, so only 2 CDS views left. So on top of that, so whatever we have created so far, these are all the reusable components, this composite view and basic view. Whenever somebody wants, they can reuse. Consumption view is specific to our needs. Okay, so whatever we want to do, like UI annotations, other extra calculations, everything we have to do it in the consumption view because that is specific to our use case. Okay, so somebody has a different use case based on our composite basic view. What they will do, they'll create another consumption view on top of composite view or the basic view. So then they can modify the UI annotation and create extra services however they want. Okay, this is how the flow goes, the VDM flow. And one thing I'm missing here, so we need to specify the annotation to indicate that this is a composite view, but in cloud they're not allowed right now, so I'll simply make it commented so that for your reference you will not get confused. If you are creating in on-premise system, please provide these annotations. Okay, so now let's create the consumption view. So those are the final views which will be exposed to my list report. Those are the final views where I'll be creating the UI annotations, extra and everything, whatever I want to do. So right click, start with C, right, consumption view, RSH, purchase document. I'll say purchase doc report. Next, you can select the TR, finish, provide the name, your report. And so whatever, see, we have created the total price, right? So where this is where we have access to all the information that we need. Here you can simply specify the CDS view that we have created and we'll access on the consumption view. Okay, so we have got the all the information which is total price. So here you cannot see, right? So consumption view purpose is only this. Whatever the complexity that you do at the composite view level and basic view level, here if you see here, you will not see that much complexity. So these are just simple plain fields, right? So somebody is looking at, so we will hide the complexity of whatever on top of we have created in this report. So it will make sense for them instead of going through the calculation field and everything. So by default, we are doing everything under the hood. Okay. Now what we need to do is one more thing. So if I go back to my total price, not that one, this one. So there is one association I can create because one thing I'm missing here. So since we are showing the current total amount field, right, it would make sense to show the currency field as well. Items, so where is the currency field, which is in the association of items. So I'll say currency. I'm getting an error. Let me check. Field items currency must be included together currency in the selection list. I will specify, okay, this is the currency field. So I'm using association here. That's the problem. Let me go to this association, see what is the currency field name. Which is currency. Let me copy this. Okay, this is missing in the group by clause. So as I told earlier, we have to specify all the fields which are part of the projection in the group by class. We have to mention this is from item, so we have to do the same thing here. So let me remove this one. I'll explain what is it when we comes to our list report. Let's keep it plain. Okay, I'm simply accessing my item price and the currency field values from association items. So I'm reusing the association whichever I defined at the purchase document interface view. This is the one, purchase doc. Okay, now my purchase doc consumption view ready. Also, I will create the item as well. Let me activate this one as well. So I'll create the consumption view for my parent as well. Sorry, the item details as well. G or SH purchase items. Provide dictionary view. And my consumption view, sorry, interface view. SH purchase item. Simply insert all. I'll get everything. Okay, so we are done with our model. Okay, model creation, basic views, composite views, and consumption views. So consumption views, I'm not doing anything here so far. Okay, so this is where we actually involve UI annotations, user interface. We'll create F4 helps and everything. Okay, so in the next hour, what we will do is we'll create the OData service on top of this data model, and also we'll add additional annotations so that by the end of this class we'll be able to see this application completely. Okay, so before we take a break, let me take a couple of questions. I think somebody is on the speaker. Can you please mute?
Hi, Rishi.
Hi.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
So if we have different currencies in different line item, we need to perform sometimes a currency conversion, right?
Yes, that can be done.
So this is done in basic view or composite view, this currency conversion?
Currency conversion, I would suggest to keep it in the composite view. So let's the basic view. Yeah, basic view should not have calculations and everything.
Okay.
It should be very plain. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Rishi.
Hi, Gautam,
Hi.
please.
Hi. Actually, I have a question. Like maybe you have discussed at the beginning of the class. I joined late. I'm not able to connect from the Eclipse to the server to be able to upload the file. So it's giving like it's going blank, like white.
You're not getting the screen, right? Yeah.
Right.
So beginning of class, I mentioned.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you create a copy of this class, the handler class, and try to reuse that class. So suppose this is my file uploader class, which is responsible for uploading the data. So you duplicate this one, copy this one, or duplicate, there is an option. Provide a new name and for give the duplicated class when you are creating the HTTP service and try out. Because I'm not facing this error, that's the reason we need to see what was the problem. For today, you can try that. I will try to figure it out.
Okay. Thank you.
Rishi, a question just related to the same. So what is the main idea of using the cloud database if we can do the same on these on-premise and create a REST API? So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've repeated this before, but can you please clarify it again?
Yeah, so this is actually the plan of SAP. So yeah, I just said we can do everything in on-premise. There is no restrictions. So what SAP vision is to move everything to the cloud. So they are creating all these new technologies on top of the cloud, so that they are pushing the customer to the cloud in this way by accessing to the ABAP Cloud and everything. Yeah, the main target is to move everyone to the cloud. That is SAP is targeting. That's the reason they are innovating all the technologies on the cloud platform.
Okay.
So Rishi,
and suppose,
yeah.
Sorry, suppose if I'm already on-premise, I feel like I want to have a different platform where I'll create, application specific to my specific needs, certain, sector of my organization. I wanted to separate from my on-premise, so I can take this other environment as a separate, entity where I can do all the things. It will be very independent from my on-premise and the cloud. Yeah. So those are kind of use cases. I mean, if customer wants to go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hi,
Thank you.
Rishi, I have a doubt. Hello, Rishi.
Yeah, please.
So if we have different, if we have different line items with different currency, then my question is whether we this.
I mean, how to convert the currencies, you mean, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we can do at the interface level. There is one function, currency conversion. Unfortunately, we have not covered this one. That is very, related to the serious use concept. But I will try to share, example with all of you. Currency conversion that will be possible. Okay. Okay, guys. I will take a quick 10 minutes break. We'll continue by creating our user interface elements. Okay. It may take some time, so because there are a lot of annotation we need to cover, but I'll make it as simple as possible by explaining. Okay, so let's take a 10 minutes break. I'll be back. Thank you.
Hi, Rishi. One more doubt I have.
Yeah, please.
Hello. So if you are creating a basic view and we are consuming it in a composite view, so can you go to that pictorial representation on
Okay.
basic view, composite view, and consumption view?
Yeah.
So if we create a composite view, it can be only on the top of a basic view, or can create a composite view on another composite view. Is it possible?
Yeah, it is possible.
Okay. So
Yeah, it's not a rule that always it should be. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you. We'll be back in 10 minutes. We'll start with the application development. Okay, everyone, I'm back. Let's get started with our next part, which is creating list report app. So we are done with the data model and we have to create the service definition, binding, and the context. Also, we need to provide the user interface annotations in the consumption view. Okay. So let me make a small change, which I have forgot. The one is purchase document where we are calculating the total price. This is the one. So here you can see if I execute this, I can see only the status, how the code values, right? Priority code value and status. So I'm not able to see the description as well in the initial view that I have created. So what I can do is, can somebody just try to tell me how we can access the values of the text? I just wanted to understand if you're able to follow. I need the text elements as well here. I want to display the descriptions as well. I want to access those fields. How can I do that? Anyone? How do I access the description fields? Okay, I'm getting the answers. So we have to use the association actually. So we already have an association inside this basic interface view, right? Which is priority and status. So I can directly reuse those associations and access the text. Status and the text. I'll say it as a status. And status text would be good. And also include this one as part of my group by class. Similarly, I can access priority dot text as priority text, and I'll include in the group by class. Okay, so now if I execute the CSS view, I can see my text as well here created, whether it is a high or low based on the priority. Okay, so now we have created the consumption view, right? Let me go to the consumption view for our report. Okay, so on top of this, we have to add annotations and everything. Before that, let me try to create the service definition. So let me complete this building block, which is business service provisioning. What do we need to do is, see, if you go back to the ABAP perspective, like when you are creating OData service in SDGW, we will create the entities, right, on top of our business logic and whatever. Now there, when we create the entities, what we will do, we'll generate the project and which will give us the service name for that. Okay. So here also, SAP has given a flexibility to create a service definition. So what exactly service definition is, you will define the scope of your entity sets. That means, what do you mean the scope? Suppose if I create a service definition, I can control like how many CDS views I would like to expose in this service. You will define the scope, how many I would like to expose. Whatever we are going to consume as part of the UEFI application, we have to expose all those CDS views inside the service definition. Then on top of that, we'll create the binding, service binding to associate with protocol. Then that will be called as service bind will take care of calling our service. So let me show you how we can, the remaining steps, which is create the service definition. on top of our CDS views. So I'll right click here, new, other ABAP repository, service definition. I'll say the RSH service definition, right? I'll say SD underscore purchase report. Purchase report service definition. Simply click on next. It will ask for the TR, locate, finish. So there is nothing complex. All you have to do is create a file with a service definition. And here the interesting part is we need to expose. As I mentioned earlier, we have to define the scope of the entities. What are the entities you would like to expose as part of this service? So we are interested in our CDS views, the consumption views, and the interface view that we have created, right? So all those we can expose here. When I call my consumption view indirectly call my interface view, right, which is underlying. So that is also we need to expose. So whatever the CDS models that we created, we need to expose here. GC underscore RSH, my purchase document report, expose RSH, and my items, and also the other interface views. So behavior definition comes into the picture when we create transactional applications. For now, we are just creating list report. So I'm not creating that. We will create tomorrow. Okay, now I have to expose my interface view as well, which is RSH purchase doc and expose. So there is no business logic here, so we're just simply exposing our CDS views which are part of our service. Expose the RSH priority and expose the RSH status, and the total price is also there, right? That we need to expose. Save. If you want to provide an alias, let me try if we can do. Yes, we can do the alias. So for now, I'll keep it as it is. You can also provide an alias name for this. Now, once I expose these CDS views, which are part of my model, in order to consume this, we need to create a service binding. So that service binding is actually our service. Okay, so this is just a scope, defining the scope of the service. So for that, I need to right click here, new, other ABAP repository, service binding. This is the one we need to choose. First, we created a service definition, and on top of the service definition that we have created, we have to create the service binding. Yes, any questions I will take at the end. Let me complete this. We have less time. So service binding, click on next. So what I will do is, on top of which service definition I am going to create, right, I will navigate to that service definition. So this is my service definition. So I will right click here. So for this only I am going to create the binding, right? So I'll right click on that, on top of that artifact, and click on new service binding. So automatically, so on top of which service definition you are creating, it will ask. So this is a binding type, whether it is a V2 or a web API. So what is the UI and web API? So when you are exposing this service, suppose your main purpose of exposing this OData service is for user interfaces like Fiori application. In this, we will add different annotations which are related to the SAP UI file, right? So in this case, we have to choose OData V2 UI. Suppose you are just exposing the raw data. I mean, there can be different clients. It's not necessarily the Fiori app which is always be consuming our OData service. There can be other parties, okay? They can access just the raw data and they can do whatever they want, whether they want to show it in a different application or in a different language, okay? So they just need access to the data from our system. In that case, we can choose web API. So This will not contain any user interface annotations or nothing. So it just contains the raw information. Okay. So OData V2, we are interested in this one. I'll say GRSH. This is my service binding name. This is service binding. I'll say SB underscore purchase report. Report binding. Next. Finish. One thing I can tell you guys, this kind of complex application, I mean examples, it is very difficult to show in the training, but we have taken the step, prepared a lot of content regarding this, because we wanted to give a clear picture like how data model works. If you show a complex examples, you'll be able to create in real time as well. That's the main thing. Okay, once we got here, sorry, you can see the version of the service definition that we have defined. Okay, on the right side you can see local service endpoint. So if you remember in our gateway service, right, whenever you go to SCJW, if you create a project, or from a CDS view, we have annotation, OData, exposure, public. When you create, you have to manually go and maintain the service in the respective gateway client, right? But here, the gateway client is internally established. Connection is internal, embedded. So we do not have to worry. All you have to do is simply you just need to activate it, and this will it will activate the services. And whatever the views that you have defined, right, as part of the service definition, when you bind it, all the entity sets will come into picture here. So whatever we have defined here. Okay. Now all you have to, your service URL is ready. And that means your OData service is ready. They can simply access by calling this service URL. First, let's look at the components. I mean, what are the elements, what is the metadata information that is associated to this specific service. Okay, now let me click on the preview. So you can just select the main one, the report one, and click on preview. First, before we show the app preview, let me show the service URL, how it looks. This basically will contain the metadata information, what kind of data we have added. So it will show the login screen. You have to specify the login credentials. Okay, let me close this one. Service URL forbidden. Something is wrong. Okay, some error has came. Let me check what it is. Okay, I think it was activating probably. Now I can see whatever the service, entities that are exposed here, you can see here, right? GC, RSH entity, item entity, other interface views like priority and status. Now if you would like to see the metadata information, metadata is an information about the data. Okay, that means if I say $metadata at the end of the service and press enter, it will give me the metadata information. As I said earlier, metadata is information about the data that we are going to work on. Let me show a simple example what exactly metadata looks like. You can see here, this is my purchase document, right, which I have exposed here, GC RSH report type. This is the one which I have exposed, and this one has some fields, right, internally. So you can see the purchase document, what kind of data type it is, what is the maximum length, what is the label, what is the quick information when I mouse over on that particular label. See, this is the information about the data, what kind of data we are working on. This is called just metadata. There is nothing complex. It will just show in XML format or JSON format so that you can look at what kind of metadata. This metadata will play a key role in our SAP Fiori app list report, whatever we are going to create. Okay, now let me show the preview of it. So in order to look at the preview, just to test how it is looking, you can select the main view, consumption view, and click on preview. So this is how it looks. Because we haven't added any UI annotations or annotation related to filter, search, or anything. This is just a information. To just show the fields here, you can select here company code and click on go. That information will be shown here. Okay. Since we haven't added, so suppose this is in a it's not in a complete format way how I want it, right? I want to position these columns in different places. So that is how UI annotation will come into picture, how you want to represent this data in the user interface. For this, we'll create the annotations. By default, manually I have added this one, so it should not be like that. So as soon as we create the annotation on top of it, according to the annotation that I specified, the data should appear here. Okay, now let me go back to my consumption view. That is where we have to specify the annotations. Purchase document report. Just a second, please. So in order to add UI annotations, there is one thing that we have to keep in mind. So I can add annotation in the consumption view level here itself. Let's say I say UI dot. Let me show the slides, which introductory slides about the annotations. We'll get more idea. Oh, where is that? Okay. Okay. There is a concept called metadata extension file. So what are the annotations that you're going to add? Okay, it is always a good practice to keep it in a separate file instead of keeping everything within the consumption view, so that to have a clear separation between the actual CDS view and the metadata information. Okay, or else if you define everything here, it will get clumsy and it's not a readable. For maintenance also it will be difficult when somebody wants to make a change. They see a lot of annotations. What is going on here? Okay, so it is always better to have a separate file. For that only we have to create a metadata extension file for this particular CDS view. So in order to create a metadata, so this is what metadata extension file means. You can either add UI annotation directly into the CDS detail file that I just discussed, or create a metadata extension file. So this is a good practice. If you create a lot of UI annotation, which actually the normal case when using SAP Fiori elements, right, there will be a lot of annotations involved. So that would looks ugly when you keep everything in the consumption view. So in order to enable metadata extensions from the CDS view, we have to use the annotation called metadata allow extension true. In our CDS view, we have to add this annotation so that we are telling, okay, for this CDS view, there is a metadata extension file is there. You can check the annotations in that specific file. So these are the main annotations we are going to learn in this. Okay, so one is searchable true. As I discussed earlier, to enable freestyle for this search, and UI selection field to make certain fields as filter bar, right? We have some filters that we have defined in the application. So for that we have to use selection field. To provide title information and all, we have to use header information. And how do you want to arrange the columns, right? When I show here in the app, how do you want to arrange the columns? Okay, whether you want to show this in the second column or you want to show this at the last column. So that case we have to use a line item annotations. And also other one, facet annotation. When we navigate from the main list report, we have seen a couple of tabs, right? One is purchase information and the purchase order items. So this is where facet annotations comes into picture, where we have to create this annotation in order to show the respective data in the object page. So second page is the object page, which will contain the more detailed information. So these are the annotations we are going to create. So for any doubts, please. I'll take just 2 questions, please. We have less time. Anyone?
Rishi,
Do I have to?
you can go ahead.
Yeah, please, Atul. Yeah, Atul.
Rishi, when you create a service definition, do we need to create on top of consumption view or interface view?
It is always better to create on consumption view. Service definition actually will involve everything. If I look at my service definition, so here we need to expose everything which are part of my data.
Even
So
including basic, composite, and
yeah, it is
everything.
always good practice to expose them, because in future also, if you want to utilize some of the data, right, under the database interface views, yeah, we have to specify it here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So always there is a 2 definitions created.
We have created only 1 definition, not 2. This is a service definition and the service binding. We are binding the service definition to HTTP service, OData service. This is a binding we have done. Okay. Okay, then I'll move forward. Let me. Okay, so this is my service definition, and I will go to my main report. So here I need to start with the metadata extension. So I'll say metadata extension allow true. So in this way we are allowing the metadata extension files to be created on top of this CDS view, consumption view. Let me activate this. Right click on this. There is an option called metadata extension. So this is the file that we need to create here, and it will be linked. Okay, specify the CDS view name as it is gc underscore rsh purchase doc report metadata on next and finish. Okay, now we have a separate metadata extension file here. So on top of our CDS view, which is annotated view, this is a view we are going to create. Now here we need to specify what are the elements you would like to add the UI annotations. Here you can see there is another annotation called metadata layer, which will specify the preference. Okay, suppose I have created multiple metadata extension files. Okay, based on the layer that I specified, will be given priority. Okay, core is a lower one. So if somebody create with the customer industry, that metadata extension will be taken care instead of this one. So this kind of, we are creating kind of different layers depending on how you want to use the metadata extension. So for now I'll keep it as a core one. So I'll give more information on this, don't worry for now. So here we need to access the fields that I would like to show. First thing is the purchase document. As I mentioned earlier, we have to, in order to show the UI elements, the columns that as required, we have to use UI and the UI line item. You have to specify the position, I'll explain, and also importance, and you can also provide the label. Activate. So what you are saying here is, with this annotation, if I go back to my application, so you are arranging these columns, whatever which are going to appear in the first page. You are telling show the purchase document at the position first. Here it could be 1, 2, 3 or any number. Okay, so I'll make it as 10. You can simply increase the column by column with 10, 20, 30, 40. So the number doesn't matter. It should be in a increasing order so that you will arrange however you want. Okay, and importance high. What exactly importance high means? Suppose the interesting feature with this Fiori templates is you can access in any form of the device, right? You can access this application in a mobile, you can access this in an iPad or whatever. So depending on the screen area, so there might be chances that we cannot see entire columns, right? Suppose there are 10 to 15 columns, and if you want to see that everything in the same screen, that looks very clumsy, right? So it is okay to eliminate some of the columns when I'm switching to the device. I don't have to show all the columns. Okay, in that case we have to define the importance. Suppose if I specify this as a high priority, okay, importance, when I switch to a device called iPad or mobile, that column will always show up because I have given the high priority. And if I specify created by as a least priority, important as low, that column might be hidden depending upon the screen area. So we are providing the importance. So this is according to the responsiveness of the screen, that the other columns will be hidden based on the importance that is specified. If I look at here, I do F12 just to show how it looks. When you access, you can see, right? So the automatically according to the device that you have switched, right, the application will be shown here. I can navigate to from item to from data to a purchase document item. So since I have provided everything is high, so everything is shown here. So if I say Rishi could be, you can see created on low, that can be hidden if I switch to a different mobile application, or suppose if I put Pixel, this is how it looks. Everything looks clumsy at all the fields. It is okay to eliminate some of the fields. You can define the importance, low, medium, high. Based on it, the fields will be hidden. Okay, that is the purpose of this one. And label, you already know, so the column name that we can simply give. Let me switch to desktop mode. Okay, so that is a very interesting feature. Like this app could be accessed in any of the devices. So accordingly, this will the application will adjust to the screen area. Okay, let me activate this one and go back to my app preview from my service binding. You can double click, or you can just select the entity and click on preview. Okay, this is a different service. This is our service preview. You can see purchase document came here because I have added the line item annotations. Okay, similarly we can add different annotations for all the fields. The same line item field we can add. So if I go to the metadata extension file, so there is a folder metadata extension. Whatever the metadata file I have created will come here. So here we can define the remaining fields. So the next one we are going to do is purchase document description. I'll make this as the next column. 20, importance will be high. This is description. And next I can show the status. We have to end with semicolon. Status, and this one I would like to show it as a third column. And you can change the description. Let me do this for priority and the remaining fields. I hope you got the clarity at least till now how we are going to show the columns. And with semicolon, priority. I can simply copy paste this one. This should appear fourth. So there is no necessity that you always have to specify 10, 20. You can specify 1, 2, 3, 4. No problem. That doesn't matter. The other field is created by, and the other field is created on date and time. I need to adjust the columns. It should be the sixth one. And final column, I would like to show it as the price. Total price. Save this one, activate, and this metadata will be synced with the service. You just need to refresh here. Whatever annotation that you add will come here. Okay. So you can see status is coming. We did not change the description of them. So that's the reason. Priority. This is created by and created on. This will be total price. These UI annotations are case sensitive, so you have to specify exactly like this. So now if I refresh, I can see the new metadata information. Click on this, I'll get the information. You can see purchase document, purchase description, total price and everything. So price is missing the currency value to the next to that value. Here, instead of showing a separate two columns, I would like to keep these two fields together. So let's see how we can do. And also, we are showing only the status code. It is always good to show the description as well. That is our customer know, whoever using. Okay, let me make these changes. So first one, I will combine these two columns. So how can I do? So you have to go to the consumption view here. You need to specify for this document, there is an annotation called object model. See, one thing I would like to again mention, you might be wondering how to use this annotation. How do I know that this annotation should be at this place? Why can't be this and that? So by default, SAP has given the list of annotation that are specific to your requirements. Okay. So one thing, we have to go through the documentation and understand for what is the purpose of each annotation. And by practice also you will come to know. So even in the initial days I was very confused how to use different places. According to my requirement, initially the first annotation coming to my mind is the object model in this situation. So by practice you will get it. Don't worry. For now just try to understand. So object model text element. For this document number, what is the text you want to show? So is this text available in your projection? Yes, this is the value that I would like to concatenate with that. Okay. And you also mentioned that this is a text element. Okay. So that the framework will realize that okay, this is a text element, and this is binded to this object element purchase document. Then the framework will combine these two. Okay. So let me refresh this. Go. Let me refresh or activate. Okay, I think I'm making in changes in a different consumption. Sorry, my bad. So I will simply say object model text element. This is my field which is containing the description, and to make this as a text element. This is a text. I'm indicating that this is a text. Now if I refresh, go, you can see these two fields are combined together. So we can hide this one, right? So simply we can eliminate from the consumption metadata extension. I'll say this is my metadata. Here I don't have to show this one because we are already combining them. Now refresh. Okay, they are both concatenated and showing it here. Similarly, we have to do for status and priority. Let me go back to my. So these annotations we cannot specify in the metadata, that is a restriction. So that's why we are doing it in the consumption view itself. Okay. So once we added, okay, where is that report? Okay, this is the one. Here we did not access the status text. First let me access them because we added later point. So priority text. Activate this, and same thing we need to mention. Okay, for this attach the text. This is my text. So be careful, try to copy exactly or else you will get into trouble. I mean, sometimes we'll never know what exactly the error is. So we have to be very specific when you are trying to map the fields within the series view. Semantics text true. Same thing for priority. So I'm showing multiple examples so that you'll get clear idea what we are doing here. So priority text, and I will mark this as text. Activate this one, and we do not need the other columns because we have already concatenating. Okay, anyway we are not showing the description here, so by default with status the description also will come. Okay, so this is how they will be concatenated. Now what I will do is, so we are done with the list. The other thing we need to do is enable the filter options and the search capabilities, right? So I go to my annotation files. To enable the search on top of this service, we have to use search annotation, searchable true. So when I make this searchable true, if I refresh, you can see there is a default one not yet coming because just a second. So when you mention searchable true, there is one thing you need to keep in mind, that so you are enabling the search capability for this report. Now if I create a search, when I'm doing the search, okay, what exactly I need to do, right? Let me check, there is a problem. So I need to mention when I'm doing the search, what are the on top of which field I need to make the search, whether it is a description or what. Okay, so that thing I need to mention here. So I'll access the purchase description, that column. I'll make this search dot, let me do it, search dot default element true, activate. Just a second, I'm getting so many things. Okay, I'll refresh. Okay, now I got the search element. So I have also mentioned that on top of which element this search should happen. Okay, if I just click here, status text, there is some error. This is not found for the segment status text. Let me check my consumption view of purchase document report. Status text is not found. What exactly that means? I'll do F8. You can see the text here. Let me go to my service definition or my binding. Let me refresh this one. Refresh. Do the preview. Okay, let me search. Yes. What is the field we have made by default the search element? When I do the search, on top of that it should happen. This is purchase document. Okay, let me enable this one. Give me a moment, guys. Let me check what is this issue. 20, is it because of this? I can see, let me troubleshoot. When I'm making a call, what is the entity which is being called? GRSS report, client, skip, search phase, description. This looks fine here. Let me close. Anybody able to find the issue, please let me know. Sometimes it's hard to find. Status text, search. Let me add this at the view level if it is causing any problem. Okay, I got the issue. My bad. So what I'm doing here is, I can keep it here, no problem. See, I have defined the search, but I made it as a default, but at the same time, I did not mention the fuzzy search, right? So fuzzy search will always work when we provide the short description, like it will match us with the existing one. See, for the sake of simplicity, what I will do is, let's keep this at the header level only. So we'll include only the UI annotations. Add the search annotation at the consumption view level itself. Let me remove it from here so that we'll have clear separation. It's not mandatory that we have to do it here, but it's good practice to keep it here. So I need to make this as a default search. Now here I need to specify the fuzziness, because we are texting the, we are searching for the description. We're not completely specifying the complete description, right? We'll give a vague description. Based on it, fuzziness, whatever we defined, it should act accordingly. Okay, so now I'll say fuzziness threshold, this is 0.7, and also I'll define the ranking. Could be high. If you enable multiple fields for the fuzziness, you have to mention which one you need to consider first. Suppose I have mentioned purchase description as high one. So as soon as you do the search, it will work, on top of the purchase description. If I enable for another, search, if I mention that as a medium, that will be given the least priority. So if there is no search found for a description, then it will switch to the status description based on the ranking that I have specified. So let me check if I have missed any other annotations regarding search. Yeah, I think we are good. Let me refresh my service binding to affect the changes. Sometimes it may not get refreshed. Let me go back to my application. Click on the main consumption view, preview. This is not my service, this is the one. Preview. And do a search. I'll try to do it on this one. Hopefully that should work. Yes. Since we have defined the fuzziness, so the mistake I have done is I have defined the fuzziness. So what exactly here is 0.7? Okay. 0.7, or so you're telling, so it can match with 70% of the text. So you're defining how much threshold it can have. Okay, the more threshold you have, the more flexibility, the more matching rows will be, the more matching descriptions will be compared during the select, so that the appropriate descriptions will be selected. Okay, so SAP recommends always keep the fuzziness as 0.7 so that it will be accurate most of the cases. Okay, you can see this is my purchase report. Here I specify the threshold. Okay, ranking is, as I mentioned, if you enable more than one field. So if the first field is not found and it will check for the ranking, then they'll go to the next field. Okay. Now we need to enable the selection fields as well. So let's get back to our metadata. Here I need to use selection. UI dot, there is one annotation called selection field. You just need to simply specify the position. And if you want to enable status also, you can simply specify the position. And let's make it as a second filter, and I will also enable one more, which is UI selection. This is for only enabling the selection fields. Priority will be 30. Activate. Okay, let me refresh this one. So we should be able to see the filter options here. Now You can enter the search here. You can search for status as well. If I do F4, you can see by default we haven't binded any annotation related to the consumption, value help. So here in this case, there are two things we can use. We can bind directly the CDS view that you want to display here. We have a basic CDS view right on top of status. I can directly bind the CDS view. So when I click on F4, directly that entity will be called and that list will be shown here. Okay. So I'll do this one, and I will allow you to do for the other one also. You can just follow the same rules. So let me finish that. What I will do is I have created one F4 help. Okay, let's check what it is exactly. So this is my purchase status interface view. So that will have a selection on top of my PO status table. Okay, there is nothing complex. Here also I have mentioned that this is a text element, and consider the description for this one as a text. Okay, we are mentioning this one, and I have this interface view. On top of that, I would like to create a a value help. What I can do is I will enable the search for that CDS view. Okay, and also enable the fuzzy search so that when I'm searching this particular status, it should appear in the list. So this is my consumption view which contains a value help. This is just a direct select on the view. We are not using association also as here. So this is a new feature. Directly we can bind the entities for my F4 help so that you'll have more flexibility, right? You can add or delete, or you can add as many as you want. Now this is a view that I'm going to add to my F4 help. So let's go back to my metadata extension. So how do I add? You can go back to our views, report view, for which one you want to enable the F4 help. Go back to that one. And consumption, there is an annotation called consumption, value help definition. Here you need to specify entity, the name of the entity that you would like to bind it here, and what is the field that you would like to show here. In that we have status, right? That is the one I am going to show here. Okay. So I have just simply created a separate entity for this one, and I'm just binding it to my status, whatever the status field is there. And when I have also enabled the fuzzy search for the text, so that when I search for that value, automatically those values will be shown. So this is not just enough. So when we add a new entity according to, in our any CDS view definition or metadata extension, you always remember, please add it to our service definition as well, because we have to expose that view as well. So expose our service definition and also expose the basic view. So it start with the interface view and the actual view, the consumption view. Okay. So I'll F3, go to my service binding, refresh this one. Okay. Let me refresh my app as well. Click on go. So we got the purchase document. I can do a fuzzy search. I'll get them. Now when I click on F4 of purchase status, I can see my entity has been called for that F4, so that you can directly search here as well. And if I say created, because I enabled fuzzy search, within that also I can select. Okay. If I click on this one, I'll get all the details. Okay, so that will be filtered, and click on go. You will get the status, the records which are related to only the purchase status. Also, you can search here. As soon as you are searching, you can see that the value helps. The options are coming directly here because you enable the fuzzy search. Okay, so status with 3, there is only one record. Okay, so this is what the first page we're able to complete for today. So what I will do, so we have good amount of time for the next week also, so we'll be completely focusing on this report only because time is not permitted here. So the one thing we left with is, so we need to, when we navigate, we have to highlight certain fields in the data point, or also we have to show the item details as well. I think it's already read. I can continue, but I don't want to take your much time. We can continue this tomorrow, and also we'll see the translation capabilities also tomorrow. How do we enable translation capabilities for one? Now let me take some questions, or just me give an overview again. I know there are plenty of things happening. So we have created our database CDS model. On top of the CDS model, we have created our basic views. And on top of basic view, there is one composite view we have created, which is for aggregating of the purchase orders total price. Now, once we have created a basic view, comes on composite view, and we have enabled, we have created a consumption view on top of them, so that will be my final stage of the CDS view. On top of that, I may have created a metadata extension file which contains the UI user interface annotations. Okay, which could be, so we have seen these all things. I did not specify header information. Let me do that finally. That will be a simple one. Suppose if I want to see the number of count here, right? So how many purchase documents are there? So for that, I would like to give a a title here, so that I can specify using header information UI annotations. Okay, let me show you how it looks. So you just need to simply specify on top of it UI, and here you need to mention type name, sorry, header information, inside this you need to specify certain values here. Type name, purchase document, type name plural. I'll explain what is this. Documents. Now if I go back here, right now you can see there is no header here, like purchase documents, how many are there. So if I refresh here, you can see purchase documents came. So this is because of the type name plural. So we're attaching this description to the number of items which are there. If I click on go, you can directly see the purchase documents which are coming from the service. Okay. So this is about this first page UI annotations. So list report, when we navigate to the object page, that will contain different UI facets that will be showing tomorrow. Okay, so I'll enable the session for questions. Any?
Hello, Rishi.
Yeah, please. Hi.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please.
Yes, Rishi. On premise we have data. We have annotation for basic view, composite view, and consumption view. So for the different layers, there's an identifying factor using this annotation. In cloud, we do not have that annotation to identify whether it is a basic, composite, and consumption view.
Yes.
In that case, if the requirement is not complex, or maybe we do not have to create too many tables, can I, and if I create only the basic view, can I expose that only the basic view?
Yeah, there is no restriction. There is just a guidelines that we need to follow. It's not mandatory. You can do it. And for now, they did not allow the VDM annotations. Maybe future they will add. I'm not sure why exactly they have restricted.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. Hi, Rishi. I have a question here. Is it output is a web IDE or?
This is simply a tool which is provided in the Eclipse itself directly. It's not a web IDE. We are not yet consuming through any outside tool like Business Application Studio or SAP Web IDE or any other tool. This is just a preview from Eclipse only. So later point of time, we will see how to consume this in Visual Studio, Microsoft Visual Studio. How to on top of that, we'll create an app. This is just a preview. This is not a web IDE.
Yeah. What about Web IDE and Business Application Studio? Is it different to like Microsoft Application Studio?
No, Microsoft Visual Code Studio is similar to Business Application Studio. Only difference is Business Application Studio resides on the cloud. Visual Studio will be in our local machine, so we don't have to worry if a trial expires or anything. So everything we can do in the local.
Like means business Web IDE and Business Application Studio for S/4HANA Cloud to expose the service.
Yes, SAP Web IDE trial account is going to expire. For that reason, yes, we have chosen the Microsoft Visual Studio.
No, I'm asking like Web IDE is for both premise and cloud or how it is.
Yeah. Yes, we can consume on-premise services.
No, I'm not completed. I'm not completed. Like, so Web IDE is for both cloud and on-premise, or is it for cloud only?
See, right now using Business Application Studio, we can connect to on-premise as well as cloud as well. Web IDE also there is an option we can connect to cloud also, but that is not recommended because that is kind of a older version. So Application Studio, Business Application Studio is the one way to go.
So to expose the OData to premise and cloud, we have to use Business Application Studio or Microsoft Visual Studio.
It's our choice. I mean, Business Application Studio both are same. Business Application Studio, as I said, will be on the cloud. We can do on both systems, both tools.
Is cloud and on-premise?
Yes.
That means
we can do both in Microsoft Visual Studio and Business Application Studio. Both are same.
It's a kind of a development tool to display,
exactly.
Create the Fiori application. So it will be displayed on Fiori Launchpad. Once we create a Fiori application, it will be displayed on Fiori Launchpad. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, Rishi, I have one question. So for this RAP programming, so all the tables and data, they are like on the cloud, right? Locally on the cloud. So
yes.
So any tables and any data on the on-premise, like do we have to migrate them on the cloud and then build the apps like this?
So basically, yes.
Like all the tables data will be on the cloud itself.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, this is complete a separation from the on-premise. You want to have everything separate in the cloud. That kind of a use case. There will be situations where you may have to use the data from on-premise. So I don't think that trial account users can create that kind of service to access from on-premise. Okay. But there is the option for customer account, they can access the data from on-premise as well by creating some services, inbound, outbound services.
Rishi, I have one question here. SAP Cloud Platform and S/4HANA Cloud. Actually, I heard like these two terms. How these two are different?
Yeah, it's in the first class slide. You can check that, but I can give you a quick overview. So SCP is a kind of a platform where all the product exists.
Charger you.
Okay, so where we get Okay. SAP ABAP Cloud is a separate thing which is on top of a cloud platform.
Okay. That means like whether we have the platform, is it available on SAP Cloud platform to develop the applications?
See, ABAP Cloud is available in the SAP Cloud platform. For that, we have connected from Eclipse to that service in the SAP Cloud platform. So right now we are already working on cloud by connecting to Eclipse.
I thought of that it is a S4HANA Cloud. This one.
Yeah, it is different. S4HANA Cloud is different. ABAP on Cloud environment is different. On first class, I have explained the difference. You can check those. Yeah, what is S4HANA Cloud? What is on-premise? I have explained there. You can check.
Yes, Rishi, that is the premise and cloud. But no, again, just I know like SAP Cloud platform, S4HANA Cloud and SAP Cloud platform and S4HANA premise. That's what I'm confusing actually. S4HANA Cloud what it is and SAP Cloud platform what it is.
So you can imagine SAP Cloud platform as a stage, okay? On this stage, I can keep multiple products such as S4HANA Cloud, ABAP on Cloud, okay? In that way, everything resides in the SAP Cloud platform. As a user, I can access whatever the softwares which are there like ABAP on Cloud, S4HANA Cloud. So SAP Cloud platform is the base for everything. On top of these are the products existing there on the cloud where we can access. So S4HANA Cloud is a different thing where mid-sized companies can run their business just like in on-premise. S4HANA Cloud is also there. So everything happens in on-premise is specific to the infrastructure belong to the customer. Where S4HANA Cloud, every infrastructure will be reside in the cloud itself. We just have to access those services and everything. SAP Cloud platform is the base. On top of that, we have ABAP Cloud, S4HANA Cloud.
So basically, like to answer this question, so we have something called infrastructure as service, right? So cloud platform is like that.
Yes. Yes, we have platform as a service. So the Web ID is a platform as a service. Software as a service. Also. There are different things.
Thanks.
Let's have 2 more questions. Anyone, please?
Rishi, over here, since you're like in Fiori elements, we mentioned that you want to display it as list report. Over here, you're not mentioning anything, but the output is coming out to be a list report. Is there a way we can specify if it needs to be a list report or analytical list page on this Eclipse?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Eclipse is only specific to the list report. So if I want to, look at the overview page, that preview I cannot do. I have to direct access from Business Application Studio or Visual Code Studio. Microsoft Visual Studio. Yeah. Okay, everyone. I think we are good for now. Yeah, please. Last question.
Last question. Yeah. Is there any way to give an heading in our app? Like purchase order app or something like this, or on the top about the search elements.
See, when we navigate, so this is the purchase document title will come that I have specified in the consumption view. You can see the metadata extension. This is how we specify the titles, header level. So type name, this is the one which is coming here on the object page.
On the initial page, I mean, this one.
Initial page, I have to check on that. I don't think it's possible. Let me explore on that. I will get back to you.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, everyone, please make use of our WhatsApp group. If you have any doubts, you can post there. Our team will be happy to answer you. For now, okay, this is end of our session. Tomorrow we'll present the object page, present the annotation. We'll see also. We'll try to complete at least half of the transaction application. Okay. Thank you everyone. Have a great day. Bye.